Welcome to Let's Talk Healthy Living. We are back into the community, folks, and today we're at Giant Kanata to chat with Andrew about e-biking. The popularity of e-biking has skyrocketed over the past 2 or so years. I'd like to learn more about it. Hope you do too. Let's go on in. Thanks for taking the time to do this interview
Yeah,
with
of
us.
course.
I
Yeah.
really appreciate
You're
it.
very welcome.
Well, why don't we begin by just telling us a little bit about yourself and a little
Sure.
bit about Giant for those of our viewers who don't know what do you call it, Giant rides or just Giant?
Giant bicycles. So Giant is a global brand. They have factories all over the world. So Giant is one of the largest manufacturers in the world for bicycles. And their whole vision is to get everybody on a bike riding outside to enjoy the outdoors.
Well, that's important, and that's one of the key messages that we try to convey to our viewers as well, the importance of getting out and about. And getting out is beautiful outside, right?
Exactly.
It's summer, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Great way to get out.
Yep.
In terms of e-biking. So we're here to chat with Andrew about e-biking. It's become immensely popular over the last, let's say, 2 years or so?
2 to 3 years.
Two,
Yep.
3 years? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because everybody seems to have an e-bike these days. So can you tell us a little bit about what an e-bike is? Because for our viewers who don't really understand what it is.
So all of our e-bikes are a pedal assist system. So these bikes, you do have to be pedaling for that motor to engage. All of our bikes hit a top speed of 32 kilometers an hour, which is governed by the government. So it is a regulated speed. However, 32 kilometers an hour is quite a good speed, especially if you're just commuting to work, putting around the city. These go quite quick, and it's a very smooth power onset. Giant has gone through lots of research and development on the batteries and on the motors to make sure that it is a safe product to keep inside your house, so there's no fire hazards, and you have a reliable product.
Okay, so you talk about the pedal assist.
Yep.
So do you always have to be pedaling? So let's say your battery, we're going to talk about battery a bit later,
Yep.
but let's say your battery runs out. What happens?
Your battery runs out, it just becomes a heavy bike. So you can still pedal the bike, you can still treat it like a normal bike. It's just a bit heavier than a traditional, what they would call analog or acoustic bike. So absolutely, you can actually turn the motor off if you wanted to. Okay. You can keep your displays on. That way you can see your speed, navigation, all that sort of stuff still displayed. Your lights will still function. Just you won't have that assist mode to help you up that hill.
So when you don't have the assist mode, is it like a regular bike or is
Exactly.
it a bit difficult,
Nope, just
harder?
like a regular bike.
Right, because I think one of the misconceptions that a lot of people have is that e-bike, you're not really getting a lot of exercise with it because it's going on its own essentially, right?
Yeah.
So is that a myth?
So that is a common misconception with a lot of our e-bikes. Our e-bikes don't have a throttle on the bikes, so you do have to be pedaling for that assist to be functioning. So absolutely, you can still get a very good workout on an e-bike, even if people don't think so. You can absolutely still work a sweat in for sure.
How far can you go with a regular battery?
So our batteries, we have batteries that last from 120 kilometers to 250 kilometers. So it just depends on the exact model that you decide to go for. So we have models that have quite a long range. So if you're going on a long trip, you don't have to charge it consistently or constantly.
Right. And should you always have a backup battery with you?
So a lot of these bikes, you can actually take a battery extender or a range extender, which will extend the range by about 80 to 100 kilometers approximately.
So a range extender. So what does
So it
that
would just
look
be an
like?
extra battery pack that would attach to the bike that would give you an additional roughly 250 watt hours of battery.
Okay. And some of our viewers may be curious, but is there a place that you can, let's say you're stuck, and is there a place that you can just stop off and charge up your battery?
Yeah, I mean, anywhere that has a traditional house outlet,
Okay.
as long as you have your charger with you, you can plug it in anywhere you like.
And how long would it take to charge up a battery?
So from 0 to 80%, it's roughly about 2 hours.
So 2 hours,
not
you're
too
full
bad.
charge, ready to go.
Roughly, so full charge would be roughly about 3.5 hours from 0 to 100.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but your first 80% is roughly about 2 hours.
And how long does a battery usually last you before it's done and you've got to completely replace it?
So Giant has a rating of 600 complete cycles before starting to see a depletion of that battery, meaning After 600 charge cycles, it might hit 99% as a full charge versus 100%. The lifespan of the batteries is quite a long time. On average, let's say you do 2 full charge cycles per week, and you ride mostly in the summer, so let's say 26 weeks out of the year, that battery should last you at least 20 years.
Wow.
On that kind of time frame.
So people who are thinking about the environment and all of that, that's pretty
Yep.
environmentally friendly then,
Absolutely.
right?
Yep.
So should you wait until your battery is completely depleted before charging it up? Or does it show on the screen
So
where
it
your
shows
battery
on the
is?
screen your remaining battery and your remaining range, depending on that specific mode. So battery power shows on the screen the percentage of that battery life left.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, should you wait until it's completely depleted
So
before you charge it up?
These batteries don't store a memory. So you
Okay.
can charge them, let's say you're at 75% and you plan a longer ride, you can charge it to 100% without any issues. There's no memory in those batteries, so you can charge it at any point.
And in terms of the motor,
Yep.
how long does a motor on this last?
So the motor will last the lifetime of the bike.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And what is the lifetime of the bike?
As long as you maintain it well, it'll last as long as you want to keep it for.
Okay. And well, talking about maintenance.
Yes.
So what should our viewers who are interested in a
Yep.
e-bike, what should they be thinking about when
So
it comes to
maintenance-wise, an e-bike will function and have the same components as a regular bicycle. So there's no additional charge for changing a chain, brake pads, stuff like that. The majority of these components, minus the actual e-bike componentry, is normal bike components. So maintenance-wise, degrease, relubricate your chain every few hundred kilometers. We do offer tune-up services here as well. Here at Giant Kanata, we do lifetime tune-ups. So you get 1 tune-up per year for as long as you own that bike. Now that doesn't mean that you can no longer do your maintenance, because once a year is not quite enough. So we do recommend, if you are a commuter, let's say you ride to work, it's a 20-minute, 30-minute ride, we suggest to do a degreasing, relubricating roughly every 2 to 3 weeks if you're in dry conditions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And talking about conditions, what about weather?
Yep.
So can you ride your bike during the winter as well? Is it
Absolutely.
an all-season thing?
Yep. So all these e-bikes you can use in the wintertime.
Okay.
However, with batteries in general in the cold, you do see a reduced life
Okay.
on that battery. So same thing with these batteries here, because it is exposed to the cold, you would see a slight depletion
Okay.
of that battery life.
But I'm assuming that you probably need to get different tires and all of that, right?
It would be advised to get some studded tires, which we can supply here as well for that added traction.
Right. And is it a different kind of battery that you get? Or is it
Nope,
is it the
same exact battery.
And in terms of people who usually purchase these e-bikes, does anybody purchase an e-bike?
Yep. So from all ranges of age and all abilities, e-bikes are really great for people that are commuting to work, for example. They don't want to work up too much of a sweat. They can get to work, carry all their items without getting a sweaty back, and still be fresh for your full workday. The same thing with couples. We sell them to a lot of couples. Let's say one rider is a bit stronger of a rider than the other. One rider doesn't have to slow down and feel guilty that their partner is not running as fast,
Right.
or vice versa. So an e-bike would allow them both to ride together at the same speed without one having to slow the other one down.
So in terms of talking about the speed and not slowing each other down,
Yep.
so how does that work? How do you control the speed on it?
So controlling the speed is all pedal, gears, and your different modes. So the different modes, basically, the higher the power mode, the quicker you're going to get up that hill, or quicker that you're going to get up to that top speed. Eco mode, for example, it'll take a little bit longer to get to that 32 kilometers an hour versus your full power mode, which takes a few seconds quicker to get you to that 32 kilometers an hour.
But it does depend on how you're pedaling, how quick you're pedaling?
So there are multiple sensors in the crank pedal area as well. So it depends on your pedal pressure, how fast you're pedaling, and then your speed. A lot of these bikes have an automatic mode, so it'll automatically switch the different power modes for you.
Okay, so you're saying that 32 kilometers per
Yep.
hour, that's as fast as it goes?
So that's the fastest that the assist will give you.
Okay.
You can pedal the bike faster than 32 kilometers an hour,
Okay.
but you'll be pushing against that wind speed. So pushing against the wind speed is the biggest thing.
Okay.
So absolutely, these bikes can go faster than 32 kilometers an hour, but for the assist, 32 is the max.
And in terms of costs, I'm sure all of our viewers are wondering about that.
Yep.
So what are the different price range?
Price ranges kind of start at around $29.99, and then all the way up from there. So just depends on the battery size, so how much range you want, the amount of torque coming out of that motor. So the torque differences are, again, how fast you get up that hill. And then the amount of features that come on the bike, such as suspension, lights, front and back, suspension seat post, fenders and racks, will also dictate that pricing.
And is it like a car where as soon as you walk out the door, it depreciates?
I mean, with anything, right? Like
Yeah.
you buy an iPhone, you walk out that door, that there's going to be some sort of depreciation. So same thing can be said for e-bikes. Now, with our products, we tend to see that the resale value of our products do remain quite high, and they sell very quickly on the used market.
But as you say, you can keep your e-bike for a long time
As long as you want
if
to
you
own
maintain it,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yes.
Just like anything, you can keep a car as long as you want, as long as you're maintaining it properly.
Okay. So in terms of maintenance, you're saying ideally once a year, but
So at minimum once a year, and that's included with the bike purchase, and that's to make sure that you're safe to ride. We do a safety check on the bike, make sure that there's no loose bolts or anything falling off the bike, but that still means that you should be doing your own maintenance at home if you're riding more than 200 kilometers per season.
okay. And in terms of doing your own maintenance, would most of our viewers know how to do that? Is that something that you show them to do when they purchase the bike?
So that is something that we do show and recommend people to do because it saves money in the long run by not having to replace parts.
Okay.
So being proactive, keeping up your maintenance on the bicycle prevents you from having to purchase and replace parts down the road.
Can we see a couple of them?
Absolutely. So
I'm
this one
curious.
here is going for $39.99.
Okay.
This is our Any Tour 6. So this is a new bike that was released by Giant this year. And this is our first kind of true step through e-bike frame. We had a couple of other models that did have a low top tube that was considered a step through, but this is a true step through frame that you can, if you have mobility issues, very, very easy to mount and dismount.
How heavy are these?
These bikes range anywhere from 45 to 55 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, if you take the battery pack out, you're going to save yourself between 15 to 20 pounds if you're having to load it into a vehicle or into a back with you.
So Andrew, in terms of someone comes in to purchase a bike, they purchase it, what would they need in terms of accessories to go?
So a bike like this, this one comes accessorized from the factory pretty well. So you're going to get fenders, lights front and back pre-installed. This one actually comes with a rear wheel lock on there as well and a kickstand. So on a bike like this in specific, the only extras you would need would be a bell to keep legal on the pathways, a good floor pump with a good gauge on it. And the reason being is tires do lose air over time. Even overnight, it is recommended to double check your tire pressure before you leave for a ride, because that is the number one way to get either a broken spoke, a bad puncture, or if you hit a pothole, you can pinch that tube inside and get an instant flat tire. The other accessories that we provide or that we offer are helmets, different styles of pedals and shoes. We offer clothing items, so jerseys, bibs, shorts, gloves, and socks. And then we also carry bags specific for the pannier racks here as well. And then we do carry maintenance accessories at the same time. Yeah, so
Right.
we are essentially your one-stop shop for any sort of bike accessories or cycling needs.
All right. And if anybody wanted to purchase a bike, what should they do? Should they be giving you a call,
Yep,
send
so-
you an email? What's the best way to?
So you can either give us a call, shoot us an email, stop on by. With all of our e-bikes, we always suggest to take one for a ride to see how it feels. A lot of our e-bikes feel much different than any other traditional or any other branded e-bikes out there. Highly suggest take one for a ride. We do have quite a lot of different terrain that you can try out.
If you want to purchase an e-bike, give Andrew and team a call.
Yeah.
You're at 499
Terry Fox Drive, Unit 40B. Give us a call, 613-599-1240.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Of course, you're very welcome.